everyone. Welcome to The Obvious. My name is Sonny. I'm the COO of ABC Florida East Coast. I want to welcome you to episode number 21 of The Obvious podcast. 21 episodes, Peter. That's amazing.
When are we going to celebrate? 50, 100?
Yeah, I think we'll do a special episode at 50 and then definitely at 100.
All right, Lord willing. So my name's Peter Dyga. I'm the president and CEO of ABC Florida East Coast chapter.
The Obvious podcast is a production of ABC Florida East Coast. Unless otherwise stated, all content reflects the opinions of the guests and the hosts, which is us.
And if you like The Obvious podcast, you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms, such as Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and Spotify, among others, or watch the audio-visual version on YouTube. You can also follow The Obvious podcast on Instagram, X, and Truth Social. And you can always reach out to us via email at theobvious@abceastflorida.com. Do we ever ask people, you can subscribe, right, to this? So we ask you to subscribe. You know, if you like the podcast, and we've gotten a lot of feedback from people that seem to be enjoying it with the unique mix of, what we are,
Entertainment and enlightenment.
And a little ABC and in construction and all folded in. Subscribe, and then you'll never miss an episode. So anyway, good to see you all.
That's what I did. I went on Apple Podcast and I hit subscribe, and new episodes just pop up, and I'm able to listen to them in my car.
Yeah.
Super convenient. All right. So, Peter, we have a very special guest today.
We do. We're on a roll with special guests.
Yes.
We have a lot of very active, engaged leadership and people and staff at ABC, and they have amazing stories, about how they got to where they are and their roles in ABC. So we're very honored to have one of those here today.
Yes, I would say our guest today, John Parker of PCL Construction, is one of the most interesting people I have met in my time at ABC. Phenomenal stories. He will have you laughing. And I know he's very fond of saying he has a face for radio, but he's gonna enjoy being on camera as well. John, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, John, we wanted to have you on the show today because we wanted to talk to you about you, but also because you are in leadership. You're a member of the board of directors at ABC. And this year, you've taken on more responsibility. You are the chair of the legislative committee.
Yes.
Right?
It's very exciting.
Very exciting. So before we get into all of that and politics and talk to you about that.
And in a little over a month, we'll be going to Tallahassee. Right, we have our legislative conference.
I'm really excited to be a part of the team.
So anyway, we thought it was a appropriate timing to have you on to talk a little bit about how you got to where you are in construction, but then also ABC, the legislative committee, some of our priorities.
But hold on, Peter, you just mentioned Tallahassee. We want to tell our audience why we're going to Tallahassee, what we're doing there?
Sure. So one of the things ABC does and does well, which is almost everything we do, I like to think, is we have an annual legislative conference in Tallahassee in Washington. So the Florida legislature will be convening for their 60-day period in early March, and we'll be up there that first week. So we invite people, if you have not registered, we'd love you to come. There's strength in numbers, obviously, and voices are stronger, the larger we are. And it really does make an impact. So if you haven't registered, the easiest way probably is to go to abcflorida.com. And I think they've got the link right there on the homepage for ABC of Florida. So.
Absolutely. I mean, it'll be cold, but it'll be a worthwhile trip. So, Mr. Parker, welcome to The Obvious. Before we get into any of that stuff, I would love to know your story. Where you're from, where were you born, where were you raised? How do you find yourself sitting today on The Obvious podcast talking about John Parker?
Well, first, I really appreciate the opportunity. Opportunity to be a part of this, an opportunity to be a part of the board. It has been an honor to participate, and both of you and your leadership has really set the example for how all of us need to move forward.
Thank you.
Little story. It's interesting. I'm from Central Florida. I wasn't supposed to go to college. One of the things I like about ABC is the apprenticeship program. I work for a company called ASI Productions. We set up concerts and stages, things like that. Did have a chance to meet some famous people during that process. Dolly Parton, the Village People, a little before everyone's time maybe, but amongst of other things. Had no desire to go to college, didn't think I could afford it, didn't think I was college material. Worked for ASI Production for a number of years. The owner of the company, Dennis, told me that eventually I would be running the organization. Made a decent amount of money. Thought it was a great future for me. Things didn't work out. Ended up turning leadership over to another individual, and I'm pretty big on my convictions. You do the right thing for the right reason. Felt like if I continued my relationship there, that I wasn't going to have a future, and I was going to be continued to be treated that way. So I decided to leave. By chance, I left, went home. My family was quite surprised because they couldn't afford to take care of me. But my grandmother gave me a chance to come and live with her. And she said, if you make a B average, go to college, community college, have a job, then you have a free place to live with me. A little apprehensive at first, but I took advantage of it. Ended up going to college, Santa Fe Community or Daytona Beach Community College, transferred to Santa Fe. And by the grace of God, I was able to get into the University of Florida, so I am a Gator. Did not think that was going to happen in high school. I was voted top 10 most likely not to succeed. It was pretty brutal. I remember walking off the stage in high school and actually having the school resource officer give me a hug and the principal. They were excited that I think they just passed me.
Right.
And I'll tell you, it's an interesting story. My mother had remarried. And my stepfather wanted to have that family, and then I lived with my father, and then my father lost his job, so my stepbrother and I ended up sharing an apartment the last half of our high school year because my father had to move, and we wanted to finish high school. It was a mess.
Wow.
So it was it really was an experience, right? Because we had to work, we had to figure out how to pay, and I'll never forget Shoals apartment complex. If you guys ever heard the Jeff Foxworthy. Where you have the Budweiser poster, the mystery stain, and the $5,000 stereo system. That was us. It was a wreck. So yeah, they had some good reason to give us a hug. But long story short, went to University of Florida. Was able to get into the building construction management program at Rinker. It kind of fit for me. I was in the business of building. I had an interest of building, so I figured if I'm going to get an education, it needs to be something I'm interested in. Came out by chance. First project I worked on in Orlando. We won the Eagle Award. Was able to go to an ABC event because I was a major contributor to the success of the project.
Let's talk. Let me interject a little bit about the Eagle Award for those that don't know. So one of the annual large events that a lot, if not most, ABC chapters around the country do is an Excellence in Construction Awards. So
I find one sitting right behind the camera.
Yep, there are several over there that kind of demonstrate what we give out over the years, and it's changed a little bit. But I just find that fascinating. I appreciate you adding that because we spend a fair amount of time at ABC trying to figure out what it is that helps get people engaged and involved, and the stories are as numerous as each individual's experience, right? So I just think it's amazing that for you, one of the earlier memories and things was, having a chance to compete for that award and winning it. Yeah. So anyway, thank you. That's what you're referring to, an Eagle Award.
It was great. I was able to help put the book together, a certain portion of it with the organization. We didn't know if we were going to win, then we found out we won, so we went to the dinner. It was an experience, something that really resonated with me. Coming out in the industry, they had it set up like the Academy Awards. So it was a red carpet, they did the music, you got up and you were really recognized for the efforts of the teams, and a lot of them were. Started to get interested with ABC at that time, realized that there was much more than winning awards. The apprenticeship program really stood out to me because of my background, knowing that not everybody can go to college. I had a lot of student loans when it came out. I had to pay for all of that. I carried student loans until 2017, believe it or not.
Wow.
It was quite a bit.
So Biden didn't forgive yours?
No, I did try to retro it back, but unfortunately I was turned down. But so I understand what it's like to struggle and to be able to get ahead with some hard work and some dedication. And when ABC, I realized what they stood for and what they fought for. I always considered it to be an honor to be a part of the program. So when I was asked by Chuck Ermer to be on the board, absolutely, the answer was yes, to get a chance to serve and to give back and to be able to educate the community a little bit. And I think a lot of people don't understand When you have a job, when you have power, like a lot of these legislators have, they have power. And I don't want to bounce around. They get drunk on power and they forget about the people and what they're struggling for. And they get confused about where the money should go. And what I like about ABC is it brings education forward. It's constantly challenging the mindset around that so that we are able to help people. And the apprenticeship program, I think we're, around 800 right now? So I think it's great. And I have some thoughts that I want to share with the group as we go into 2025 about how we might be able to grow that and some ideas. So hopefully we get somewhere.
Awesome.
So you were chosen by our board president for this year, Brian Sutter, who was on the one of our episodes recently, as the chair of the legislative committee. You know, when we have a robust, large committee, as you know, Peter and I often talk about, you know, you either get into politics or you get out of business. And so I would love to know kind of what sort of motivated you to get involved on that side, on the political side. And one of the things that I was thinking about when you were talking about your journey kind of growing up and then high school and then getting into UF, you know, just made me think of meritocracy, right? Like sort of every step of the way, it was meritocracy that carried the way. And it was you, of course, you had support from your student resource officer and your high school principal and your grandmother and your brother and friends. And there was a community that helped, but you had to do your part and you had to put the work in. And it's kind of brought you, I'm sure that high school senior living in an apartment complex with a Budweiser poster probably could have never imagined the life you're living now, you know? Or maybe you did, I don't know. I don't want to speak for you. And so, but what a testimony to meritocracy and to hard work and to persevering through difficult times and hard times. And so I would love to kind of know what brought you into this role in terms of the legislative committee and kind of what your vision is and what your
Was there a moment, you know, where things started to gel or click for you? I mean, I know it's a process for all of us,
right.
But I think, you know, one of the, again, things I've enjoyed over the years is various members that, you know, and seeing their journey in terms of engagement and understanding about the breadth of things that ABC does. So, and there might have been some of those experiences along the way that I'd love for you to share. So,
I don't know if there's absolutely one, but I will think the biggest thing for me. So there's two questions. One about ABC and then obviously the legal or the politics side of it.
Yeah.
With ABC, the thing that stood out to me when I got on the board was talking about how we fought a issue out of Miami.
Oh yeah, the
heat ordinance.
Heat ordinance.
The heat ordinance and the pressure that the community was able to gather on, and when you get enough noise, right?
Yeah.
It's hard for the politicians to fight the noise. And the leverage that we have as a community, it really stood out to me. So that's one of many that I think stood out to me from a legislative side, and something that stood out to me that says, hey, I could help make a difference.
Yeah. You went up with a group of us to Washington, didn't you? Was it last year's legislative conference, or do you remember? Were you in?
I wasn't able to make last year.
I think you made
But this will be my first trip.
Okay.
My first trip to the ABC state level is next week as well. So I'm looking forward to it. I've done quite a bit of research. Read a couple of books to get prepared.
We've learned that about you, so which we really admire. So I think one of your first questions early on was, give me the bylaws of the organization.
And, that was great.
I want to read them and understand them. So
you got to have a playbook, right?
Yep.
You got rules.
Yeah, it's great.
One of the things I am going to share with our audience, a couple of days ago, I saw an agenda that you had created for your very first legislative committee meeting. One of the things I loved about the agenda that you sent over was at the bottom of the agenda you had that dissenting voices, that I want to encourage dissenting voices to speak up, right? And I think you wrote something like, if we don't kind of have a conversation and debate issues, we're never going to get better. And I just was so impressed by that. And I thought, what a wonderful way to kind of start off the year for the legislative committee and frankly, all committees, right? Like the idea that dissenting voices have an opportunity to be heard and to be debated and frankly, that's how you get to the most efficient, the clearest pathway to truth is through debate and dissent. And you kind of talk about what people are thinking. You talk about all the ideas, and then you kind of, it's a battle for ideas, right? You kind of
Yeah, and then of course you have to make a decision and move on
decision.
and coalesce, behind, the decision. But
Yes. Interesting. When I was putting the agenda together, I had to keep in mind that I am new to this process. So I'm fortunate enough to have Vice Chair Sam Wilcox on the team, as well as TJ. So I reached out, I put some thoughts together, had a team call with them, asked them what had worked in the past, what hasn't worked. Another thing is I reached out to Holly and asked Holly for some feedback, as well as Carol. Had the agenda together. They looked at the agenda, so it was nice. It was nice to have a handoff. It was some thoughts.
Yeah.
Making sure we're incorporating and we're taking the baton for what we've done to date, and we're passing the baton forward, but we're also challenging for new ideas and thoughts. We're looking forward to the future meetings and utilizing these agendas to get prepared for the meetings. Well, one of the things that I was hoping we could challenge the team moving forward is being prepared for the meetings. One of the things that I noticed in the past is there are some individuals that are on these committees. They're a part of the team, the board, and they have jobs. And this is a second job, but it is an opportunity to serve in my mind. So it is going above and beyond. It is a job. It is work. And I'm hoping that the group that we have is going to take on that challenge and move forward. And we're going to be able to make some change. And it's incremental change.
Right.
It's not big change. So it's exciting to see what's going to happen.
Have you kind of thought about your vision for the effectiveness of the committee, into this year and towards the end of the year, kind of what you hope to have accomplished?
The one thing that stands out to me is involvement. It's being engaged. Engagement. One of the things that stands out specifically on the engagement is reaching out to our local communities and educating them on ABC. More specifically, interest for me personally is the apprenticeship program portion of it, but ABC in general and what we do for the community, ABC Cares, things like that. If each of our members were to make a connection, let's just say once every 2 months, you take that and you multiply that and you times it, right? It's an exponential return on it. So if we just get engagement from each of the members to do something, then I think we're going to make a difference.
Wonderful. No, we're very excited about your leadership, and I know a lot of the initiatives have already started, and we've had a lot of calls and things have, and we're in January, and it's off to the races. So I'm very excited about that.
And to kind of wrap up, can you talk a little bit about the board, has an annual strategic planning. The ABC of Florida Board of Directors has an annual, and we've got a very important goal or priority, legislative priority that the state's pursuing, the chapter's very interested in and benefit from, and you and our chairman, Brian, have made, obviously achieving this goal very important. Can you just in a few minutes talk about what we're talking about, what it is?
Yeah, it's very interesting. So there's the LEAs, and I'm assuming the guests know what an LEA is.
Local education agency, so a partner that we as an apprenticeship provider have to partner with for the...
So essentially the funding model
Funding,
for apprenticeship education, right?
So as that funding comes from the state level, it goes to the local LEA, and then it's transmitted out to individuals like ABC that put on the apprenticeship program. And right now, the funding that's coming through, a substantial portion of that funding is going to the LEA. Now, if the LEA is providing a service, we understand that they need to be compensated for that service. Right. But if the apprenticeship program, like ABC, has a program that we provide the physical space, we're providing the material, we're providing the speakers and the trainers, and the LEA is free and clear of it, we understand that there needs to be some financial money that needs to go through for
like a pass-through, right? It's a pass-through. Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't necessarily want to, pass-through could be taken out of context, but there is a transmission of cash between the state and private entities. So when you do that, there has to be some money that goes with it. We think 10% is a reasonable amount. The rest of that money needs to go, or it needs to be divided up appropriately to the programs that are in place so that this funding can continue. And why that's so important, not everybody can afford to go to college. So to me, this program is substantially more than just some dollars that are coming from the state. It's an opportunity where we can make a difference in the community. And why is that important? We make a difference in our community, the merit-based concept, then our community becomes stronger, right? We get more stories out there, more success, and it's a hand up, not a handout. And with that, not everybody can afford to go to college. Not everybody can afford. I was very fortunate when I came out to be able to make my bills, but it was a long time before I could get ahead. Where the apprenticeship program affords a great opportunity. You get individuals, you don't have to go to college. You come out, you start working, and 5 years out, you can be making $100,000 a year in the construction industry. Where else can you do that without a college degree?
Right.
So yeah,
That's exactly on. Yep, that's exactly on point. So there's a lot of benefits, as we've talked about, I think, even in previous episodes of the apprenticeship and education and workforce development aspect of what ABC does. But we feel like the legislature appropriates money that they think is going towards the student, the apprentice, and in large part, a good chunk of it isn't. So that's kind of, we could deliver, a better product and to more people, if we fix this problem. And one of the things I love about ABC is we're all marching kind of in unison on this issue this year.
Yes.
It's a top priority. We've been trying to get it solved for a while, but we really have high hopes.
Yeah. And I know we appreciate your leadership on this issue very much.
Absolutely.
It's an important subject.
No, thank you both. Been very impressed with how you've managed yourself. It's the reason why we set ourselves apart from the rest of the group. Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been a wonderful guest, John, and we're so happy you're part of ABC and you're a part of our leadership. And we're looking forward to some great things. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening and honoring us with your time. So we look forward to sharing another episode with you very soon.
For comments, send us an email at theobvious@abceastflorida.com. Thank you for joining us.
All right. Till next time.
Ciao.
Ciao.